Hello and welcome to Conversations with. I'm your host, Leigh Toney, Executive Director of the Carrie P. Meek Entrepreneurial Education Center of Miami-Dade College. And my guest today is one of the people that you really want to have in your Rolodex, and that's a reliable person to service your vehicle. Lowell Gelin is the founder and owner of On Call Mechanics and has been in business for the past 5 years here in South Florida and previously in Atlanta. Welcome to Conversations with.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm glad to have you on the show today. A different type of entrepreneur than we've talked to lately, but absolutely one of the people you want to have in your Rolodex is a reliable person, an honest person to service your car, a good accountant, a good attorney. You're one of the people that the top 6 people that we all need to have on call. How did you get into this business? We don't find many young people that are going into this area of work, and particularly as an entrepreneur.
Well, essentially, I always had a desire to fix things. I've always been handy since I was a child, and at a younger age, I was a late teenager, 19, 20, and my mother paid what I felt was a substantial amount for a brake job, and I learned how to do brakes that same day. I ended up buying the book, read the book thoroughly, took my tools, took everything apart that my mother just paid for, and just redid it over again. I verified that they did it right, the best of my knowledge of what I knew what right was. And then from that point on, when I realized how good it felt, I decided to do it more and more. I would service my own vehicle, get my friends and ask them whenever they needed services. I would just offer to do them for free, because for me, I was learning. And then the more vehicles I worked on, my knowledge base started to just expand. I was like, this is really a lot of fun. But at the time I was working in corporate, and once I decided to leave corporate America, I figured, let me just follow my heart's passion and, do automotive repair.
So on-call mechanic is what it sounds like a doctor being on call. We call you, you come?
Literally. It is a great opportunity for the customer to develop a unique rapport with an individual, essentially performing surgery on their vehicle, be it a small surgery like an oil change, or something major like, doing a tie and belt or a water pump, something along those lines. But what I always felt was missing was the rapport between the customer and the technician. That is somewhat missing in the dealership scenery, and I wanted to add that extra element in what I do, because I would receive certain feedback from clients when they saw how I dealt with them. They saw that I took what I did personally, because to me it's personal. I love what I'm doing, and if someone's paying an establishment to service their vehicle, they should know who's the one servicing their vehicle, and for the most part they don't. I wanted to add that ingredient into what it is that I do.
So that level of personal service, accountability, not to mention the convenience of having someone come to your home or to your place of business to service your car, that's your value proposition. That's your secret sauce of on-call mechanics.
That, along with some of the other services that we provide, there are people who are looking to buy used vehicles. So they'll call and ask us to come by and do an assessment on the vehicle. And a lot of times they find things that they never knew that they would find. However, in the process, in the past, they've purchased used vehicles and had to do major repairs. Whereas I can play a role in creating an atmosphere where they can, prevent themselves from buying a financial headache.
Well, that's a huge relief. How is it that you market your company? How does one find out about the on-call mechanic?
Well, it's often said that the best form of advertising is, word of mouth. So I work on that, but I advertise what I do on Facebook. On Instagram, back in the days, we used to use MySpace. That's somewhat, not there as much as possible. But then what I would normally do is, just meet people and try to explain to them with the degree of passion that I have for the business, what I do and why I do what I do. And customers have a tendency to feel where I'm coming from, and they say, let me just give this guy a shot. And once the opportunity presents itself, and when they see me in action, it's pretty much sold after that.
Miami is a car market. People care a lot about their cars, pay a lot for their cars. How have you been received? How has your company been received in the market?
It's been received pretty well. I have some severely loyal clients. If I'm out of town and their car needs to be serviced, it's not going to get touched until I come back in town. I have clients call me 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I get up and I go. So being that when they see, the degree of service that I provide them with, they see that I'm serious, they see that I take it personally, they feel more confident and comfortable with me servicing their vehicle because they see that I'm very serious about it. Something as small as when you put a tire on and use the gun to keep it snug, they see me pull out a torque wrench and torque it to the dealer specifications. They'll see me going online, looking it up, look up the vehicle make and model. They're like, what are you doing? I said, each lug should be tightened to a certain amount of foot-pounds to have even symmetry all the way around. This is information that's never really allotted to the customer, but someone like me who has the technical expertise can explain to them the importance of that. So when they see these little things that I do, making sure that washer fluid is always in the washer reservoir, that adds to the trust factor that is developed once they see me service their vehicle.
We may have to talk about this after the break, but how do you make, a lot of businesses have technical craft. A lot of founders, they are experts in their craft, and you certainly sound like you're passionate and have learned a lot and gained a lot of experience. But there is a learning curve between being the master technician and running a successful business. How are you finding being both the technician and also being the entrepreneur who not only has to work in his business, but also work on his business?
Sometimes it's a challenge because, you know, I'm the owner, I'm the technician, the cashier, you know, the service advisor, the service manager, the warranty clerk. To be honest with you, because I've had the benefit of working in a dealership perspective, I always made sure that I had good relationships with the cashier, the service advisor, the service manager, the janitor, because all of us play an integral role in making sure the facility runs properly. And I've always been a social people person, making sure I have excellent relationship with people in the parts department and so forth. So it's challenging at times, but at the end of the day, I have a goal that I have to accomplish, and that's what pushes me, or that's one of the driving forces that push me. And even though the challenges are there, I understand that there's someone counting on me to have a job done and have the job done well. So, you know, the difficulty is there, but I have to do what I have to do, and I love what I'm doing. So that kind of makes it easier, so to speak.
Thank you. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to you about how your company is growing here in South Florida, and what do you see next, and what opportunities do you think exist in this industry, particularly around the non-traditional ways. You mentioned it before about people calling you looking for advice, and that's like a car consultant even. So we'll talk a little bit about that on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Cool programs for hot jobs. Let Miami-Dade College jumpstart your career. We offer bachelor's degrees in film and TV production, electronics engineering, supervision and management, and nursing. Or choose from 300 other programs. With our flexible course schedules, you can take classes during the day, evening, weekend, or online. For more info, visit MDC.edu or call 305-237-8888. Get the knowledge and training for today's in-demand jobs. Register now.
Welcome back to Conversations With. I'm your host, Leigh Toney of the Carrie P. Meek Entrepreneurial Center of Miami-Dade College. And Lowell Gelin is my guest today. He's the founder of On Call Mechanics, a company that comes to you to service your vehicles. He's had a long background in the auto servicing industry. How did you come to be an entrepreneur? Is there entrepreneurship in your family? Did you just kind of figure out that you'd had the streak and the spirit to work for yourself?
Actually, I come from a family of entrepreneurs in my family, my culture, and Haitian culture. We, at some point, feel the need to do things on our own. I have a cousin who is old enough to be my uncle, who was very successful in Haiti. My father, at some point in time, after he retired, he got into the real estate business, and he, purchased homes and would put residents in there so they could live. So, growing up and seeing him break away from the 9-to-5 situation that most people endeavor in, gave me the impetus to want to do the same thing. I'm one of 6 siblings, and out of 6 of us, 4 of us decided to work for ourselves. I'm one of the 4. So I think it's in my blood to want to be independent. This is something that I wish to share with other youth that feel the need to break away, so to speak, from the 9-to-5 rigmarole that most people are involved in. So if I can assist in helping young children want to develop that entrepreneurial spirit that I think is natural in some people, but I think people can develop it as well. I would like to be, the one to catapult them to go in that direction.
How do you see yourself helping others come into this industry? Because I think it has, a long shelf life. As long as there are cars, people are going to need reliable people who have expertise in how to service these cars. Who do you think should be looking at this and might be overlooking the opportunity that's available here?
Believe it or not, I believe women should get involved. There's a young lady that I met who works at a dealership, an Infiniti dealership in Fort Lauderdale, and she's a great technician. She knows what she's doing. She's informed, and she has no idea that I'm talking about her like this, but I intend to let her know next time I see her. And because vehicles are so computerized right now, the average American car from 2010 and up has 20 computers in it. So the industry is expanding where it's becoming so computerized, and the knowledge base is so massive. The opportunities are there. Usually when I go to schools and I do career days, I like to show the children how math plays an important role in auto mechanics. Social studies in regards to the history of the vehicle and what occurred, what repairs occurred before and afterwards that would need certain repairs. Science. Automotive repair in and of itself is a science, and you need to learn how to read wiring diagrams, need to learn how to read the repair manuals that service the vehicle. So all 4 subjects are essential in automotive repair.
Science, technology, engineering, and math. That's where a lot of young people are being directed to look for viable, productive careers in the future. But you mentioned social sciences, which as a sociologist, cars tell a lot about where we are as a society. So now there are a lot of these hybrid cars. People care about the environment and pollution and things like that. How is that impacting your industry? And do you work on those type of vehicles?
We work on hybrids as well. Just received 2 certifications for hybrid technology. And a lot of the vehicles that are hybrid now that, hybrid, some people are confused with hybrid. They think hybrid is strictly gas, saving gas. But if you look at the Lexus LS600, I think it's about $120,000 hybrid vehicle. That's strictly for power, but it's also to save the economy, to produce less carbon monoxide into the atmosphere. So that particular venue, hybrid technology, that's advancing. But then you have electric technology that's coming out. Well, that's been out for quite some time, but it's reinventing itself back into the industry, like vehicles like the Tesla, the Nissan Leaf, strictly electric vehicles that require a certain type of plug where you plug it in and the vehicle charges overnight. You're getting 80 to 90 miles a day. The top of the line Tesla goes up to 300 miles a day. So with the technology going in that direction, it's going to open up a venue where people can learn this technology, because some of the technology that we have on our cell phones, customers are requesting it in their cars now. I'm kind of skeptical about that because it can cause a car accident.
Exactly. We don't exactly want you Facebooking while you're driving or tweeting, as you drive, trying to get 140 characters or whatever. That could be a problem.
It could be a major problem. But technology is here to stay. Computers was first introduced into vehicles in the late 70s, early 80s, and a lot of technicians got away from that. But it's here. It's not going anywhere. So we have to keep up to date. I take about 8 classes a year to stay up to date. Lexus is coming out with new technology. Land Rover, Mercedes, any car you name it. GM is, the Cadillac is. They have some serious technology in these cars. So if one is not up to date, they'll be left behind, and you cannot. 60% of the cars that are fixed nowadays is through a laptop.
Let me ask you a quick 10-second question. Are most people holding on to their cars and therefore requiring more of a company like yours? Or are they getting into the market as a sign that maybe the economy is getting a little better?
Well, based on the current economy, a lot of people are holding on to their vehicles. Some of the people, they have emotional attachments, sentimental values to some of their cars, contingent upon how they obtained it and so forth. So that plays a major role in using the service of on-call mechanics. There are some people out there who are unaffected by the economy. They will buy the newest vehicles out. You know, I was at a business meeting Saturday evening, and I'd asked a series of people, "Hey, what do you do when your vehicle needs service?" They said, "We buy new ones." You know, so it just depends on the group of people out there. But what I find is that the majority of people out there, they are keeping their vehicles. It's more economical for them. Some people don't want a car note. Some people just rather keep a car that's paid off and just repair it. You know, they feel like they're saving money, and that's where on-call mechanics comes in.
Yeah. Do you also work with a set of other partner type businesses that are related to the car industry? I can say, like, you know, mobile car wash companies or anything like that.
I have a good friend of mine. He has a mobile car wash company. I use his services consistently. Stephen Powell. You don't want anyone else detailing your car but Stephen Powell. When he's done with the car, you know, he asked me, he says, you know, I'd like to earn your services. The same way I come to people. I said, am I going to like your services? He says, when I'm done with your car, that's it. Been using him ever since. You know, all my clients love him. And in regards to other technicians, I have about 6 or 7 different technicians that I work with, some of who are my actually automotive mentors. And they have trained me and helped me to become a more sharper technician. Okay. So we use each other's services all the time.
Very good. I know you want to do some social entrepreneurship, so after our next break, we'll talk a little bit about this opportunity that you are making available to help people come into some new skills and come into your industry who really need opportunities like this. So stay with us and with my guest, Lowell Gelin, and we'll learn more after the break.
Fresh thinking is being served at Miami-Dade College. Create your own recipe for success in the evolution of food culture at the Miami Culinary Institute. Learn the skills you need to jumpstart your career in the culinary arts. Turn green into gourmet and celery into salary. Miami Culinary Institute. Food, culture, innovation. Visit us at miamidadeculinary.com. Register now. Miami Culinary Institute.
Welcome back to Conversations With. I'm Leigh Toney, and I'm here with my guest today, Lowell Gelin of On Call Mechanics. And we left off with a very interesting notion that I don't think a lot of people talk about much, but auto mechanics is really a STEM field. And in STEM, in academia, that's a big deal. Science, technology, engineering, and math. And you did a very good explanation of how it's really an interdisciplinary field. Mm-hmm. So in light of that, you know, you're helping us to rethink that this is not our father's auto mechanic. This is not our father's auto garage anymore. The model is evolving along with the times. I'm also intrigued, though, because a lot of times these auto mechanics has been in a field where people have been able to kind of remake their lives and earn a solid living and, you know, set up a solid business even. Are there populations? Is it still, or do you see it as perhaps an industry where perhaps someone who is an ex-offender might be able to come into this field?
That's actually something that I feel the need to work on and to establish because ex-offenders in this culture, in this society, don't really have the opportunity to sustain themselves. Once one has a felony, they pretty much can't get a job. And I want to create a program by which they can learn a skill set, they can learn some of the basics of electrical, Ohm's law, which is, again, very necessary in science, and develop that skill to do automotive repair. And if they have that skill, it could also increase in them the confidence and the ability for them to be, a contributing factor to society. It could increase their knowledge base. I will also have the opportunity to mentor them to help them become productive members of society. That's one of my driving forces, because I need to be able to give back to my community. My parents coming from Haiti, struggling, and see them struggle, they need to know that the fruits of their labor were not in vain. And if I can play a role in helping someone become a better human being coming from a particular background associated with crime, and being a productive member of society, you know, that will make me sleep much better at night.
And I think you have a lot of opportunities for social entrepreneurship. You mentioned encouraging women and girls to enter this field.
Definitely.
Opportunities for ex-offenders. One of the more popular commercials now shows young girls, you know, as young as 8, 9, 10 years old. They don't want a Barbie doll. They don't want everything in pink. They want a Lego set because they want to build and they want to construct. And like you said, there are surgical metaphors related to, you know, diagnosing what's happening with a car and being able to repair it effectively and get it back out on the road. So it really is, I think, an often overlooked field. And I think even in academia and maybe even in high schools, I remember we used to have auto shop classes.
Yeah, and
but it's a different experience now, and it's something we ought to perhaps pay more attention to.
I think it should, because I spoke with an eye surgeon recently, and when I asked him what's the difference between what he does and what I do, and he told me straight up, I don't know anything about cars, and you guys are underpaid. You know, because what he does is extremely intricate, but what we do is overlooked. Because you have so many people saying, oh, I could do this, I could do that, I could put a battery in your car. And there's times where they put the battery in and I have to come in afterwards. So some people think that just anybody can do this. And those days are long gone, long gone. You know, it takes a special skill set, desire, and passion to do what I do.
So your company's been around since 2008. Given all the things that we've already discussed, the advent of electric cars and green technologies, and people wanting more of an experience, even with your auto mechanic, you know, because what you've talked a lot about is not just about the actual servicing of the car, but the relationship and the experience that you provide for your customers, and that car consulting piece, which I think is really intriguing. Being able to call someone up and say, listen, I'm in the market for a new car. How can you help me? What's the value of that?
When you are not versed in something and you contact someone who teaches you about what it is that you're not versed in, and you see that as they're teaching you, you literally are getting information that you would not get from someone else, and you see this person has a passion, this person loves to share this kind of information, it kind of increases your confidence. It kind of makes you feel like, okay, I probably made a good decision. And driving your vehicle, a lot of people don't really realize how important that is. So if they're going to make a decision into purchasing a vehicle, it needs to be a sound one. A sound decision in purchasing a vehicle cannot be made if one does not do their research, and if one doesn't have in certain degree, the technical expertise of what it entails to drive a vehicle, to buy a vehicle. Because this is a 2 to 3 ton vehicle that you're driving back and forth, and if it breaks down, you know, the security is compromised, the safety is compromised. All these things need to be taken into consideration when purchasing the vehicle. A lot of people don't take those things into consideration, and we can offer that as an initiative for them to contact us and say, hey, you want to buy a vehicle? You know, we're the ones to contact to let you know what's the best one to get, which one you shouldn't get, you know, even if it's overpriced. Because if I'm seeing that it needs this, this, and this, we need to shave off $3,000 because it needs about $3,000 worth of repair. That's when the challenges come in.
What would you tell our students? Because this show, our audience it's largely students who are shaping their careers right now. Is this an entrepreneurial path that they ought to pursue? Is this a path of technical skill acquisition that you think the time is right for them to take another look at?
Definitely. With the advent of technology going in the direction that it's going, we need more technicians, more people who love doing automotive repair, or who are just good with their hands. Again, I would like to see women in the industry. It is, for me, an excellent opportunity for them to not only develop a skill set, but to learn the industry, see what it entails. They have the opportunity to see the intricate details that it takes to even design a vehicle. When you get exposed to that, you have a different respect for the locomotive that's on the road. You begin to respect it, and you begin to appreciate tires. You begin to appreciate air in a tire. You begin to appreciate putting oil in a vehicle. These things are just not highlighted. Eventually, what I'm going to start doing is teaching automotive classes. It's going to be free of charge because I want to get people to understand automotive technology. And when the opportunity presents itself, when I teach these courses, they will then, I believe people will begin to respect, you know, the vehicle and respect what it takes to maintain them.
I think I know some place where you can teach that class.
I'm more than willing to do it.
At the Meek Center.
Okay.
Well, I've enjoyed talking with you, Lowell. We've learned a lot about not just your industry, but about someone who has taken a fresh look at the industry and sees many, many opportunities. So I wish you all the best of luck, and I thank you for being my guest today on Conversations With.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
I hope you've enjoyed it as well, and we look forward to seeing you next time on our next edition of Conversations With. Thank you, and have a great day.